Hello, good morning. This is Kapil Basu. So, we will start a new tutorial on ship operation and management. That is chapter 5. And the topic for this tutorial will be your cost. You understand what cost is, how it is divided, what are the different type of companies which are been formed. So, that will be our topic of discussion. We will have this in two parts. To shorten it, we will break this tutorial in two parts, in two different videos. So let's start. Yeah. So let's start with type of companies. Now, there is a sole trader and partnership. This is one type. There is nothing to prevent an individual going into business on their own and so retaining all the net profit. So in this situation, the individual has to raise all the money necessary to operate the business. Of course, you need money to do the business, and you have to raise the money. It could be various ways. Your own money. You can borrow. You can go to the bank. So individual has to raise all the money necessary to operate the business, which they may be able to do only by borrowing money against a security such as whatever immovable property, like a house. All the risk falls on the individual, including the ultimate risk of losing everything if things goes wrong. So two or more may decide to pool the resources of money and skill, so form a partnership. Usually they draw up a partnership agreement which formalizes this agreement. Suppose if two of you want to come together, pool in your money and do a business, you both have individual possibly experience. So you must have a proper agreement for doing it. The same benefits, the risk apply to partnership as to sole traders, except of course they are shared. So here it is important to know that if one partner is unable to fulfill the obligation, the other partner are obliged to bear full responsibility. So what the highlight is, the partnership is usually referred to as a firm. There is no restriction on size, and some partnerships such as firms of accountants, stockbrokers and lawyers can be quite large organizations. Directors must abide by certain rules. Then there will be some director in that company. He will abide by some rule of conduct. Now, there is a limited company. A limited company may be owned by a small group of shareholders, in which case it is referred to as a private company and its name has to include specific word or initial after its name. In the UK, the word limited or the abbreviation LTD is used. Similarly, in India also, you will find in the end there's a word that letter LTD is used. That means it is a limited company. The company owned by large number of shareholders are called public companies, and a different name or set of initials to be used in this name. In UK, the initial PLC stands for public limited company are used. The same implies public company shares are available to anyone who wishes to buy them, and they are traded in the stock exchange. And whatever price the market puts on that company at the time of the sale of their purchase. Similarly, we also got a public company, they issue stock and people can buy the stock and become a part of that company. Large company may buy or form subsidiaries companies that may themselves be quite large, but which having only a few actual shareholders are still private limited companies. Yeah. Conglomerates and multinational companies. Large companies can develop into what are known as conglomerates. In addition to having several branches, office or factories, they are made up of numerous subsidiary companies. So these subsidiaries may be in a line of business related to that of the your parent or in an entirely different trade. One reason for forming a conglomerate is integration to avoid having to buy inland transport services from outside. A ship owner may own a trucking company, for example. It may also possess a chain of agency offices so that it is used its experience to gain income from others. So what happens in a conglomerate? They have multiple companies, could be doing some different business, but the resources they try to share, like the case of say logistic, they got offices. So uh, they can use their office in other share their office in other locations. The conglomerate may set up branches and subsidiaries both in the country where the partner, your parent, is registered and abroad, so it can trade throughout the world, yet retain the trade and the profits within the organization. See, we have seen like the shipping companies, they have got various offices in many parts of the world. So this type of organizations are known as a multinational, and high profile examples are the major oil companies and mining companies. So of course, oil companies, mining companies are there. Even a lot of shipping companies have got offices. Like in India, if you see, European ship owners have got office in India. They have got office in Singapore. They have office in Dubai. So there are strategically placed where their ship has got interest. Limited companies. One way of avoiding some of the risk of sole trading or partnership is to form a limited company. The thing that is limited is the liability. So you must understand what is a limited company? Your liability is limited. Those forming the companies are shareholders rather than partners, and their liability is limited to their shareholding. If the company fails, they all lose what they paid for their shares. Someone has to bear the rest of the losses, and in this case, it is those to whom the company owed money. This may seem unfair to the suppliers that provides goods on credit, but it is a risk that must take when doing business with a limited company. So because you are buying shares, so the promoters or their interest is only to the amount of shares they hold. So if you are losing, so you also lose. So I mean, in the stock market, when we buy shares, if the company is doing bad, of course, the owners are losing money, but we as the shareholders also lose money because the value of the stock goes down. The risk is lessened by legal control on limited companies. Most companies require limited companies to publish the account every year through an official body. In the UK, this is registered of companies. Limited companies may have at least one director who may or may not be a major shareholder. This is a requirement. Now, the cost, they are in your divided in categories. So there are three major cost categories in ship management. Because you are talking about ship management, we understand little bit about initially about what different companies are, limited companies, multinational companies. Your so now we talk about the cost. Now, what is the cost? So there are three major categories in ship management: fixed cost, daily operating cost, and voyage related cost. So we'll understand this better as we go further. So these categories are fundamental to budgeting, daily ship operation, and commercial voyage planning. So the three things you must remember. So they may ask, this is one of the questions they may ask you. What are the costs? So you can answer here. Very simple, crisp and precise. Okay. So what is a fixed cost? Fixed cost is capital and ownership cost. So these are costs that remain constant regarding of how much the ship is used. They must be paid even if the ship is idle, laid up, or not trading. This is a fixed cost. That is the cost of your owning a ship, irrespective of the ship is commercially running or not running. She's standing, waiting for cargo, layup, whatever reason it is. This cost the owners have to pay. The the key characteristics: not affected by number of voyages, paid regularly, monthly or yearly, because the cost in this case, something could be monthly, like your wages and all, your victualling and all, this monthly. And there are yearly, there are some statutory fees which have to be paid, that are possibly those are paid yearly, incurred by owner of the ship. So who incurs this? The owner of the ship incurs this cost. Now, example, cost an item, I have tried to segregate. Now, depreciation, that is one thing. That is loss of ship's value over time. We have seen, so if you buy a car today and if you sell it after some time, do you get the same price of the car uh, as you have bought? No, the value get depreciated. Second, loan interest and repayment. If the ship is financed by debt, that means you have to pay what we call it, our term is EMI. So, because you have borrowed the money from whatever sources it is, you have to pay them the EMI, which also includes the interest part. Now, insurance, H&M, we have talked about insurance earlier. So, hull and machinery, P&I, we need to pay mandatory marine insurance cover. The vessel to trade must, if it's tradable, must have a mandatory insurance cover. Otherwise, she cannot go out to sea. Classification registration fees, that is mandatory. If the vessel need to be classed, the classification also need to get paid. For the registration, you need to pay. And the management fees. If you have given your ship for management, you are a ship owner, and you have given your ship for management to a management company, they also need the fees paid for ship management company for oversight, for looking after the vessel. They need to be paid money. So these are the fixed cost, which need to be paid. Now, next is the daily operating cost, ship running cost. For every day, the ship need to be, make some expenses, and that is known as the daily operating cost. So these are costs required to operate and maintain the ship on a daily basis. They also occur whether the ship is trading or not. So here also, the daily operating cost need to be paid irrespective of the ship is trading or not. So the key characteristics: incurred due to crew, maintenance, and routine operation. Do not depend on voyage or route, irrespective of where you are going, what route you are carrying. The cost is more or less fixed. Sometimes commercially, the expenses may change. We will talk about it later. For a particular route, you may have to have little more expense. Like you are going through your high risk area. So in that case, you possibly need to have armed guards on board. So that is on all voyages you don't take. But in a particular voyage, if your vessel is passing through that area, say like Red Sea, your Gulf of Aden, you have to have armed guards on board. So operating under ship management control, operated under ship management control. So that is also you have to pay that fees. So the examples are crew salary and benefits, wages, food, traveling, training, that has to be paid. Crew salaries, maintenance and repair, that is consumables, spare part, equipment. So maintenance is a daily affair for a ship. So you have to have paint, brushes, lubricants, cleaning up equipments, that has to be paid. Provision and store, again, food, medical supplies, safety equipment, lubricant, lube oil used for engine and machinery lubricants, communication administration, internet documentation, office support. So these are the costs which comes under the daily operating cost and which owners have to pay or have to incur. Now the third thing is the voyage related cost, voyage expenses. So these are variables. So these costs arise only when the ship is performing a voyage. They depend on route, port selected, cargo type, and charter terms. So if your vessel is idling, you or laid up, you need not to pay this cost. You will only pay the cost when the vessel has been running, commercially running. The cost arises when the ship performs a voyage. So what are the key characteristics? Paid only when the ship sails, changes from voyage to voyage, usually controlled or reimbursed depending on the charter's agreement, that is voyage, a time charter or voyage charter. So naturally on a charter, so basically there are two types of charters, there is voyage or time charter. So voyage, you get earned for the cargo you load. This is per metric ton or per cubic meter of cargo you load. And on time charter, you are paid a daily hire of X for the duration of the charter. So this is only when the vessel is under charter. When the vessel is ship sails. So, I mean, it is not that when the ship, you're not sailing on a charter, the charter has stopped. No. If there's a breakdown of the vessel for the ship's fault, you don't earn that money during that part of the vessel is not moving. But otherwise, suppose the vessel on time charter goes to a port and the port says, we don't have a berth for you. You have to wait for a couple of days. So she still keeps on earning because there is no fault of the ship. And there is the charter's risk that he has taken that vessel and there is a delay in the port. So anyway, so those we have discussed earlier when on voyage and time charter. But anyway, the vessel, when she's moving, or under charter, she gets paid. So it changes from voyage to voyage. Why should it change from voyage to voyage? Again, as I mentioned you earlier, just this slide before, that there are some costs which you may incur on a specific voyage. Suppose, let me give you an example. Suppose if you are going from say India to say China. So there is a straight voyage where you are paying daily hire to the wages, the daily hire the ship, and as a time charterer, you are also paying your bunkers to the ship owner. Now, what happens is, if the same ship takes a voyage, say to Mediterranean, so the voyage changes, and also the cost changes, or the additional cost comes in. So when you are passing through, say, Red Sea at this point of time, you have to have, because you are passing through a HRA, a high risk area, so you have to have armed guards, which you have to engage. Those people come on board. You pay the armed guard company money. Then you are crossing Suez Canal. That is also an additional cost which is there. Irrespective of what type of voyage you do, by crossing Suez Canal, Panama Canal, all these canals, you have to pay certain amount to those authorities. So these are also, it changes from voyage to voyage. Usually controlled or reimbursed depending on the charter agreement. So it depends. On a time charter, the charter pays this money. On a voyage charter, the owner pays this money. Example, cost, bunker and fuel, main engine fuel consumption, daily sailing. That is expense one need to make. There is port charges and dues. So on a voyage, the owners will make that payment. On a time charter, the charter will make the payment for tugs, berth, port, securities, etc. Transit, again, Suez and Panama, depend upon what kind of voyage then you are paying. Loading, discharging cost, That again, stevedore terminal, depending on the chartering term. If it is your a free in cargo or free out cargo, usually the charter pays for it. If it is a liner in cargo, then again it is owner's responsibility to engage the stevedores and agency fees. So these are the variable costs which need to be paid on a voyage. Now, I try to make a your table for you to understand it bit clearly. Now, type of voyage when incurred depends on example paid by. The fixed cost always paid depends on ship owner. Example insurance loan repayment paid by owners. Daily operating cost as long as the ship is in service depends on ship maintenance and crew. Example is crew wages. Daily you have to pay stores, lubricant, of course, victualling also is there in that, paid by the ship manager owner. And voyage related cost when ship sails depend upon route and port. Example, bunker, port fees, canal dues depend on type of charter. So go through this. So it is you will get a more clear picture which cost is attributed to which one. Fixed cost in ship management. The fixed costs are costs that exist regardless of whether the ship is operating or idling. They stem from the fact that the ship itself is a capital asset, which must be financed and paid for over time. So, because when you're having a ship, possibly they are you have taken some finance from somebody, and it has to be serviced. So, three financial fixed cost components are. So, there are three your financial cost. One is return of capital, amortization, and debt servicing. So we will briefly understand what these three things are. Return of capital. A ship is expensive asset, often costing billions of dollars. So whoever invests money to buy the ship expects to earn a return on the investment. So naturally, you are doing a business. You are investing money so that you can earn back through the investment. So that is the reason you are, and these are buying a ship is not cheap. It is quite an expensive affair. So meaning return of capital is the profit or expected reward for the owners, investors for trying up their money on the ship. That means you are investing something and you are expecting a return on your investment. So that is how much return is your capital giving to you as your earning. So little bit small example, if a ship costs say $40 million and the investor expects 8% return, then return of capital will be 320,000. That is 4 million into 0.08. It is your return of capital is about 3 million $200,000 is your return of capital. So this cost exists even if the ship is idle because investors still want the return. So you have to earn this $3 million every year because the investors or the bank or from whomever you have taken the money, they will be expecting some return coming out of it. So irrespective of the ship earns or ships is sailing or idling, this money need to be earned. Amortization. What is that? Ship loses value over time due to wear and tear, age, and obsolescence. Amortization is a process of spreading the original cost of the ship over a useful life. So what happens is we spread your the value of the ship. Say I take the vessel will be working for life of the vessel is 20 years. So I spread it over 20 years, meaning it represents the annual reduction in the ship's value similar to depreciation. Example, a ship costs 40 million and has useful life of 20 years. So what is amortization? So 200 $2,000 dollars per year is the cost. That means my ship value is depreciating. So this is what do you understand by amortization. This ensures that by the end of 20 years, the ship cost has been fully accounted for. That means the value on your books becomes zero in that point of time, and you have accounted for this every year for the last 20 years. Okay. Debt servicing, loan repayment plus interest. Most ship are purchased with full cash. Ship owners usually take bank loan, meaning debt servicing is ongoing payment of the ship's loan, which includes principal repayment, paying back the borrowed money, interest cost. Example, if the owner borrowed 3 million at 5% interest, the annual interest alone is about $1.5 million. Then add part of the principal repayment each year. Note, debt servicing is a real cash expense, while amortization is an accounting expense. So debt servicing, that means you have to pay. It's like, most of us have taken some or our families have taken some kind of loan for buying house, buying say vehicle, or even the small your household items. Fridge, TV, you can always buy uh, on EMI. So if you because now let's take house, it's the big value. So we have to service the interest we pay to the bank from whom we have taken the loan. So if you see, there are two parts of it. One is principal amount, other is the interest amount. So because the principal you have to pay back. Suppose for a house you have to take a 50 lakhs loan and for 15 years. So there is a loan, the 50 years need to be paid back. And because he has lended money to you, you have taken a loan at say 8% interest. So there are two things which you have to pay back. If you see the document which the bank gives you, it gives you detail every month what is the principal amount you are paying back and what is the interest amount which has to be paid back. So this is debt servicing is also very is one of the major your responsibilities on the owner. So for that, he has to ensure that he has to earn more than the debt servicing he is doing. On debt servicing, it is not that suppose X amount he is paying every month or whatever is the requirement with the bank. For that, again, on top of that, he has to add that fixed cost. He has to add that daily running cost, and of course, so all those. So he has to ensure that his vessel has to have a decent earning, so that after paying all these expenses, he still has got money commercially. He's trying to make for himself or his shareholders. Again, I made a table for you. Type when incurred depend on an example and paid by. Fixed cost, daily operating cost, related cost. Go through it. You will have a clear understanding of this. Okay. Now, daily operating cost, we also call it OPEX. Exclude vessel expense, fuel bunker port charges, and exclude the capital financial cost. So, daily operating cost, that is OPEX, it will exclude what? Fuel bunker port charges. It is not required for your daily operating cost, and excludes capital financing. That means debt servicing, it is not included in that. So here's a clear example of each component. Now on the daily operating cost, what will you get? Crew expenses. This is a large part of daily vessel operating cost. They include wages, overtime, social contribution, that is pension, if at all, it has been deducted, training and certification cost. Nowadays, they're very important. Under SCCW, the crew need to be trained and certified. There is a cost to it. Medical insurance and crew welfare, joining and repatriation cost, vessel visa. The crew has to be brought in. They have to be sent back. So all the expenses comes from the owner. Joining and repatriation expenses, travel and visa. Crew cost vary by flag state. nationality, and collective bargaining agreement. So depend upon what is CBA is a collective bargaining agreement. That means the owners they come together and they make an agreement that okay, this is the agreement which the owners agree with the seafarers who are coming on board. So this is what responsibility comes for on the ship owner, and what are the responsibilities of the crew and officers who are going on board. So depend upon the flag, because if you are taking a crew from say European flag state, the expenses are more. If you are taking somebody from a flag of convenience we have talked about earlier, so possibly that money is lesser comparatively. So this again it varies as per which flag the vessel is flying. Victualling and catering. So this refer to provision of food, drinking water, galley supplies, and for our personnel on board includes food item, fresh, dry, frozen, cooking, fuel, cleaning supplies for accommodation, catering services. In some time, you outsource it, especially in the offshore business. It has been outsourced. So there are catering companies who send food on board. Victualling budgets are usually set per crew. So usually what happens is the company pays to the master a fixed amount per day. It could be between $7 to $10, depending upon what type of crew you have got. So, and the captain try to manage. This is only for the food items and say cleaning equipments. So he tries to manage the food with that budget which is given, and they are decent enough to have a quite a decent meal on board. Stores. So what are stores? Referred to as all consumable item used in daily ship operation, excluding food. So the stores again the company usually supplies. So what type of your stores are there? You got deck store, you got engine store, you got safety store, and office stationaries. So deck store, if you see, what are those? Ropes, paint, cleaning material, mooring equipments. So comes under the deck department. Engine stores, tools, filters, chemicals, your packing materials. So these are few examples. The list is exhaustive. When you see whenever the ships ask for the store, there is a huge, there are a very big exhaustive list which is to be sent. A small thing, it's screws and nuts and bolts and paint brushes, what not is there. No? So whole lot of thing comes under this. Now safety stores, firefighting equipment, life jacket, flares, anything which is used for related to safety. Then office stationery is logbook, cartridges, communication. So these are necessary to maintain ship seaworthiness and operability. So the stores are very important so that if you want to maintain your ship properly seaworthy. Lubricants. Lubricants are lubricating oil and grease required for a main engine, cylinder bearing, auxiliary engine generator, pump, compressor, other rotating machineries. Lubricant consumption depends on engine type and age, operating profile, slow steaming, high load, etc. So lubricants are not same as fuel. They are consumed continuously and budgeted in the operation cost, that is OPEX. Insurance cost, another very important cost with the ship owners to take. Ship requires several layers of insurance to operate legally. Key insurance items are like insurance type and coverage, H&M, hull and machinery, physical. When we take the coverage, it covers the physical damage to the ship itself. War risk, damage caused due to war, terror region. Loss of hire optional. You can take that your cover. Compensate for downtime after insured damage. So if your vessel is off hire due to some damage, insured damage, that means you must have take a cover for that. So you are covered. So insurance premium are usually paid annually, but accounted proportionally on a daily basis on OPEX. So this cost also is taken as on a daily basis. That is, you proportion that. You pay so much for the year, so you break it down to a daily basis, or however you want to break it up and add to your cost. Now PNI. PNI is the protection indemnity. Every vessel will have PNI for a third party as a third party insurance. Provided PNI provides liability insurance covering crew injury, death compensation, cargo claims, pollution fine, collision liability. So these all comes under the PNI. Wreck removal. So a PNI consists of initial call money. So when you take your policy, there is initial call money which pay as a estimated premium. See what happens in PNI, the what we don't call it as a premium, but we call it as a call money. So initial call is annual premium estimated. So we pay estimated. That means what is PNI? We know it is all the ship owners come together, they pool in money, and from that pool, from that kitty, whenever something need to be paid to one of those members of that pool, that money is taken out. Now there is nothing fixed premium every time. There is initial premium, of course. Then, if required, there is a supplementary call given. That means additional amount depends on the claim of on claim history. That means suddenly too many claim comes in. So not only that is a kitty, a fixed amount of money which is in the kitty. So when it comes down, so they say okay, the supplementary call, every owners have to contribute depending upon their size, so much of money. So this and reserve for deductible. The money is set aside because each claim has deductible the ship owners must pay. Now, why deductible? That means, there is a claim which is coming. So 100% of the claim is not paid. That certain deductible. That means some part of it, some part of it, are responsibility owner to cover up, and thereafter the balance is paid by your insurance of the PNI. Create a reserve, ensure funds are available if claim arises. So you also have to have some sort of a reserve. Because for every time, you don't go to a PNI, there is something, you need to also pay for from your reserve. So you must have some sort of reserve which could be used in emergency. Again, I had try to make a chart for you. So go through it for a better understanding. You pause the video, go through it, understand it better, because this will help you when you are writing exam. So you can see what cost comes under which head. Okay. So there are further components of a ship daily operating cost, OPEX. While earlier component, crew, store, insurance, insurance covered day-to-day services, the following deal with upkeep and technical reliability of the vessel. Now, we have got repair and maintenance, RMN we call it. Now, that will come under a OPEX cost. But every day you need to have repair and maintenance. The ship operates in harsh marine condition, so continuous maintenance is required to keep the vessel in seaworthy condition. So for that, we have got plant maintenance. Now, as for the ISM and SMS, so the vessel need to follow ISM. For ISM also, you have got a plant maintenance, PMS. So for that, there's a budget allotted. So because in PMS, it tells you what job to be done weekly, what job to be done monthly, what half yearly, quarterly. So plant maintenance, regular scheduled work based on manufacturer instruction, class and flag requirement, plant maintenance, PMS, I just told you. Example, overhauling generators. All this comes under the plant maintenance. That means it gives a schedule when you need to overall generator, when you need to overall your pump, purifier, cleaning heater exchange, your heat exchange, structural touch-up of painting, routine steel renewal. So there's the expense for it. So they come under repair and maintenance. Then corrective breakdown maintenance, repair due to equipment failure. So this you cannot anticipate. Suddenly there is a breakdown, but you should be ready uh, for that expense. Example: replacing a failed propulsion pump, repairing cargo crane or winch machinery, turbocharger repair. So these may require special technician. And many times you have to call the manufacturer or some sort of a specialist who come and do the job for you. Note, the spare part for machinery are often included under RMN or listed separately as spare part inventory cost. Dry docking is a major cost. Now, dry docking is what happens is every ship must undergo periodic survey and dry docking as required by the class and IMO regulation. So typically, we do 2 dry docks in 5 years duration. Now, dry docking cost includes dry dock charges. You have to go to a dry dock use, crane, manpower, hull cleaning, the bottom cleaning which you cannot reach when the vessel is afloat, and anti-fouling paint. You need to clean the bottom and paint. Steel renewal, any major steel renewal is required. We have an extensive survey, and that is a cost that time. Overall critical underwater equipments, propeller and shaft, sea valves, radar steering, class survey fees. So dry dock is a major expense, and owners need to be ready for those expenses. So what happens is, would you do? So every year, because you anticipate that you are going to dry dock for after say 2 years. So you have to keep a budget every year so that suddenly you don't have to take out a few millions, for the dry docking of the vessel. So we will break this chapter here, and we will again continue with the next thereafter. So we will break up, and again we will start the B part of this chapter. Thank you so much.